Okay, we need to make y the subject of this, and at the moment y is not actually the subject because y also appears on the right hand side. Now the whole of the right hand side is square rooted. I cannot add or I can't subtract the n, or I can't do anything with this square root until I have squared both sides and got rid of the square root sign. If I square the left hand side, I get y squared. If I square the square root on the right hand side, I get ay squared plus n. Okay, what I'm now going to do is collect together everything containing y on the same side. So I'm going to subtract ay squared, because my job here is to get y on just one side of the equation of the formula, not both. So if I subtract ay squared from the left, I'm going to get y squared minus ay squared. And if I subtract the ay squared from the right, it's disappeared, and all I'm left with is the n. Now I can see that y squared is actually a common factor here. So I'm going to factorize the left-hand side by taking out that common factor of y squared. Now I'm going to think, what do I multiply y squared by to get y squared? Well, that's just 1. And then what do I multiply y squared to get minus ay squared? Well, I multiply it by minus a. And that's equal to n. Remember, factorizing here means that I get that letter that I want to make the subject to appear once instead of twice. What I now need to do is get y squared on its own, so I'm going to divide both sides by the bracket 1 minus a. Now, if I divide the right-hand side by the bracket, I get n over 1 minus a. It doesn't need to be in a bracket if that's all there is on the bottom. And if I divide the left-hand side by 1 minus a, then I'm just left with y squared. Now it's y that I want to make the subject rather than y squared, so I'm now going to find the square root of both sides. Well, if I square root the left-hand side, I've just got y. If I square root the right-hand side, I must make sure that I square root all of it. So I'm going to do a nice big square root, and on the right-hand side, I've got n over 1 minus a.